Hello, everyone. I'm really excited that I have my latest new book. It's just a little book because we're trying to not waste time, right? It's how to use a planner without wasting time. And one way that we waste time with planning is by taking too long getting it set up because we want it set up perfectly. We want it to be right before we get started. We aren't sure if it's right before we get started, and so we end up spinning our wheels and not really getting traction with the planner because we aren't really committed to working it, because we aren't sure whether or not it's going to work. So we're going to talk today about making your planner work, but also about just getting started without being positive that it's going to be perfect, because it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. So we have a lot to cover today. We're going over a significant amount that's covered in the book. Of course, there's more direct, practical steps and application in the book, but you'll get the gist of it in today's workshop. Today's workshop will be about 45 minutes, unless we get a little carried away. 45 minutes is my plan. And is there a way to buy the book without Amazon? Soon. Next week, I will have my own storefront way to purchase the book. So if you can wait till next week, you can order it without Amazon. Planners are super helpful. And sometimes it's so easy to give up on planners because we find that they aren't helpful. We've not really used them before, and so we think that we can get along fine without them. We don't want to put in the time because we're afraid of wasting time, and the whole point of having a planner is making better use of the time. So it's like this cycle of, I don't have enough time to manage my time. So this workshop is for you if you have these kind of planner struggles, which I see in the Ask a Question section that you do. So this is where people like us belong, because I raise my hand to all of these. If you have spent more time setting up a planner than actually using it, this workshop is for you. And I know some of us just give up on planning altogether because we've done that so many times that we don't want to waste the time. All the time we've spent setting up planners in the past has been a waste of time. So we don't want to put any time into a planner now because we don't want to waste time. Maybe you aren't even sure what using a planner means. So you can buy a planner, you can print off pages and put them in a binder, and then what? Like, okay, I have this planner. It's not doing anything. It's just sitting there on my shelf, not doing anything for me. Like, what does this even look like? I wrote things down, but was that helpful, really? We're going to talk about that. Maybe you've decided that planners just don't work for you. You're in that kind of I give up mode. And I want to encourage you that give up mode is not a great place to live. Been there, done that. When we say, well, whatever, I'll just fly by the seat of my pants. I'll just deal with the emergencies that come up because there are already plenty of emergencies. I can't get out of putting out the fire mode. And it's not that a planner will automatically get you out of the mode of putting out fires when you're in a season that is just emergency, everything's urgent mode, which a lot of times, sometimes when there are lots of little kids, that really is what you are, the mode that you're in most of the time is just what's right in front of my face to deal with right now. And then if there's nothing, it's like, okay, maybe I should take a nap. That's legitimate. But still, a planner can be helpful because a planner is not a tool to control our life. And a lot of our discouragement around planners is because we go into buying or setting up a planner thinking that this process, the planner and my plans together, are going to create a life I control. And then that doesn't happen. And so we think, well, planners aren't for me, or planners don't work, or that was a waste of time because what I really wanted was control and it didn't give me control. Well, I like to say the only kind of control that you are given, the only kind of control that you are told to have is self-control. We don't control our life. A planner will not help us control other people or the situation, circumstances. God's got that. What we're supposed to do is be responsible and diligent and fruitful, and a planner will help us with that. A planner is a tool for exercising self-control. And if it isn't that, if it isn't about exercising self-control, then it is going to be a waste of time. So we are going to be applying our planner as a tool of self-control. Maybe you are overwhelmed anytime you look at your plans, and so you just don't look at them at all. I made a list, it's overwhelming, and then it's like avoid, just avoid. Avoidance mode. Or maybe you're really hopeful. You're not in the discouraged give up mode. You're in hopeful mode that this time, maybe with the right set of instructions, with the right planner, it will all work out this year. Your school year plan, everything will just go along swimmingly. It'll be wonderful. The planner is not the thing that's going to make that happen. Sorry. But we're going to talk about what the planner is for, what it's actually going to do for us this session and in our future sessions. Let's jump in then. There are 5 different kinds of planners. You know, when we talk about planners, sometimes it's even just choosing one is a hurdle, an obstacle that we can't figure out how to get past. So there are 5 different kinds of planners, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. And as you hear about them, think about if you've ever tried any of these before and what your experience was with them, or what appeals to you about it and what drawbacks you see from it. And thinking through these things will help you pick the planner or the combination of planners that's going to work for you. So the first kind of planner is a pre-printed planner. One that you just buy, you order it from Amazon, you order it from the online store, you go into Office Depot or Staples or Target or wherever and just buy a planner. It's already bound. It has everything you need to be organized, right? And so you think, well, okay, as long as I do this, the planner gives me the direction. As long as I do what it tells me to do, then this will work. That's the promise of a pre-printed planner. I know the pre-printed planner that I have used is a full focus planner, mainly probably because they do sell it in purple. Every page then is printed, which is kind of discouraging when you end up not using it because you're like, oh man, I have more blank pages than filled in pages. Like that says something about my planning habits. Erin Condren has a planner I know lots of people use. I think Happy Planner is, I haven't looked at those closely. I know those are another popular one, but they're a little bit more, they're like part designed for you and part self-designed. So that's the second kind. The second kind of planner is a self-bound planner that you put together in a binder. A disc-bound binder is a popular one. Actually, mine is behind me. So something where you can put the pages that you want in the order that you want, in the number that you want, in your own planner. So you can move things around. You can have your notes. I've got some sermon notes here. And you can flip the pages, put in the supplies that you want, some pre-printed. You can I got calendar pages off of Etsy. I have some of my own planner pages. Got my Bible reading challenge in here. Let me show you. This was a sample page when we were putting together you can get this dashboard for free. This is in our free planner pack. So the self-bound planner is nice because you can put together what you actually need, and there's not a lot of wasted stuff where it's stuff that looks good but is not actually useful, or you have pages you end up not actually using and then you feel like you didn't get your money's worth out of it, or like you didn't do it right. You're deciding with a self-bound planner what's right, but then that can also be the obstacle, because how do you know what you need? It takes more time to put those pages together yourself and figure that out. Yes, the dashboard. So you can get the dashboard and planner pages at convivialplanner.com. That's one of our free ones. Yay for Bible reading challenge. Yes, the same page summer. It's almost time for the next Bible reading challenge checklist. It starts in September. So the planner is a perfect place to keep your Bible reading challenge. So the third kind is a clipboard planner. I forgot to have mine handy. So that's where you have very few pages. You keep the bare minimum number of pages. It's easy to fill up a binder. But with a clipboard, you want to keep what you need in front of your face. So the good thing about a clipboard planner is that you never have to open it to see what you need. And sometimes even just opening the planner is an obstacle that it just doesn't happen. We don't overcome that obstacle. So a clipboard planner keeps that dashboard, your daily card, the things that you really need to see right there in front of your face. There, you don't even have to open anything to see it. It's right there in front of your face, ready to grab and go. No matter where you are, you can write on it. And it's just super visible. A whiteboard planner, where if you have a whiteboard on your fridge or a whiteboard on your wall, that can also function as a kind of planner. It's less portable. Especially if it's a big whiteboard. But it's a kind of clipboard planner because it's just right there and you can write on it immediately and it's visible. It's not even open and go because you don't have to open it. It's just go. So a clipboard planner worked really well for me for years where I was home more than I was gone. I had very little outside of the house things that I did. Everything was at home, so it could just be in one place, right there, visible, easy to write on, easy to glance at on the kitchen counter. It's a oft overlooked way to keep a planner. Then, of course, there's the classic bullet journal, which I think is one of those that's actually the biggest time waster, has the most potential for being a time waster because of all the YouTube videos. I've tried bullet journaling for 1 week at a time, a few times. I never made it past the 1 week mark. And I have probably spent more time watching bullet journal videos on YouTube than I have even making my own, much less using them. Some people love the bullet journal, and the benefit of the bullet journal, which the definition would be if you are starting with a totally blank page and drawing and writing everything from scratch for your planner. So you're not even printing anything. You're just starting with a blank notebook and using a blank notebook as your planner. So even if you're not super artsy, if your planner is a blank notebook, that's a bullet journal. And the benefit of that is that you're basically brain dumping. You are physically writing everything that you need, and that does help put it in your brain in a more memorable way. So it does have benefits, but we have to be aware of the particular drawbacks. And then, of course, there is the ever appealing digital solution, which it's like more of the promised solution than the actual solution. It holds a lot more potential than most of us really use. And that's because our phone often triggers distraction. So it's very difficult to use your phone or computer as a focused productivity tool, simply because most of the time that we spend on it is in distraction mode. So our cue in opening our phone is, oh, well, what's this person say? What's this person say? There's notifications everywhere. And so you have to be super intentional and have some very structured rules around your phone, just using it a lot. It's easy to think, oh, well, I'm on my phone all the time, so if I use it as my planner, I'll have it all the time. But of course, you have to actually open the apps that you're using and look at them on your phone. And those are probably not the apps that your fingers just automatically tap and open. Because it's not mindless. And usually we take the path of least resistance, and you're going to, on autopilot, open up the mindless thing on your phone, even if you intended to open up your task app or your Evernote or whatever it is that you use. There are apps that do work. The problem is actually using it in that way. So there are these 5 types of planners. And so which would you like to pick? They can be combined. Like I use a digital calendar. I use Google Calendar. But then right now I'm using a pre-printed planner. I kind of go back and forth between pre-printed or self-bound. When all my kids were little, I used a clipboard for a number of years. It's not about the type. There's not one type that's going to work better than the others. Really what you want to figure out is which one appeals to you right now. Because if your planner attracts you, you will use it. And using it, looking at it, writing things down is what makes the planner work. So you want to choose a method that appeals to you. And maybe that just means putting your favorite stickers on the top. You want your planner you want to like your planner. You want to feel a little bit of affection for your planner. So which one of these would allow you to feel some affection for your planner? And if you do have one, if you do have a planner you're already working with, especially if it's a pre-printed one, I know a lot of people ask, well, what are some pre-printed planners? Please do share what you're using, or if you're using self-bound, where do you find your pages, or do you just design your own on Word, Clipboard, pre-printed, bullet journal, reminders app? Okay, do you already have a planner you are working with? There's yes, no, and maybe. If you are not sure If you don't have a planner, or you're like iffy on your planner, then think about what about each of these kinds appeals to you. What do you like about each one of these kinds? Okay, so far, most of you already have a planner you're working with. Oh, here come the no's. What drawbacks do you see for each? And this would be good to think about, honestly. What are the drawbacks for the planner that you are working with? What are you using, and what are its drawbacks? Because sometimes we go into choosing our planner and we're all excited about it. We picked it because of the things that appeal to us. And then we don't really think about the drawbacks until after we've gotten started. And sometimes it's almost like we expected there to be no drawbacks. And so when we encounter some obstacles or drawbacks to what we picked, I was like, all over, it's done. What do I do now? Because I thought this was going to be my solution without any issues. Every planner has some drawbacks. There are always going to be obstacles and resistance and issues. What we need to do is recognize what they are so that we can expect them and approach them with wisdom and clarity. So no matter what kind of planner you choose, it has to have essential pieces in it if it's going to actually help us manage our real life. I know sometimes some of those pre-printed planners have like these big long sections in the front about life goals and mission statements and all kinds of things that might feel fun or interesting or clarifying to fill out at the beginning. But then what do you actually do with that information? What about actually managing the day-to-day? There are more important things to track than just how much water you drank, right? They all have a little water tracker, which I'm a fan of, but that part's not going to make or break your time management. So here is what you must have. You have to have a calendar. And so this is where you can mix and match. My calendar that is 100% complete and accurate as far as I am able, it's always work, is Google Calendar. Because my husband uses it, my sons use it, my friends use it. And so we can share events and calendars, and we know what's going on in each other's schedules. So it kind of shortcuts some of that back and forth communication and reminders, and then the actual reminders that it then pops up on my phone or pops up on my computer. I get advance warning that things are going to be happening. And I don't know how many times that little 10-minute warning was like, oh man, I lost an hour somewhere in there and I'm going to be live. Like, let's go. I really appreciate the little 10-minute automated reminders from Google Calendar. But whether your planner is in the planner that you print and go, that you have on hand on paper, no matter what, somehow you have to have a calendar that is 100% complete and accurate for all the time-bound obligations that you have committed yourself to. Then you have to have some kind of dashboard. So inside Simply Convivial Continuing Education, our course Work the Plan, we call this the weekly dashboard. So that's the page that I showed in here. So your weekly dashboard is whatever spread or sheet that helps you manage what you're doing this week. So this is the one that's in the free planner page set for Convivial Planner. So it has days you could put your menu plan. Like, it doesn't exactly tell you exactly what to do. You could use this for menu planning. You could use these for menu planning. You don't have to put your menu planning here. I like to put my menu plan on Google Calendar because it turns out that meals are a time-bound obligation that I have them committed to. But there's things, a list for things you have to do every day, a list for some things that have to happen this week. This spot right here is for the daily card, and this is for the weekly top 3. So these are all just ways to do, ways to manage what's going on and keep it in front of your face. But I think that it's best for us as busy moms to manage the week and to keep that weekly view with a bit of focus for the day. That's where the daily card comes in, and we'll get to that. But a lot of the things that we need to do, it's not like they have to happen at 2 p.m. It's not like we have to clean the kitchen at 2 p.m. It's more like, okay, there's that thing I need to deal with. I need to clean out the fridge. I need to do that. It needs to happen before I go grocery shopping. But we have a lot of flexibility. But then that leads us to procrastinate and not do it, or lose track and forget that we have to do it until it becomes an emergency. So a weekly dashboard helps us to keep in view what's important to accomplish this week. And one thing that really helps about keeping a weekly dashboard is that the space will be limited. Like, there are only so many slots. I think, well, I have so much to do. But a part of our problem with not managing our time well, with avoiding our planner, with not actually making to-do lists, is that we let those responsibilities that we're supposed to be doing, the tasks that we have, just roll around in our head. And that is overwhelming because we can't really do anything about them when they're just rolling around in our head. We need to write them down. Usually some kind of priority will become obvious when we write them down. And the space on the dashboard actually reminds us that our time is limited. So we might think that we have this gigantic long list of responsibilities, but we don't actually have the time to do all those things. And so in putting together a weekly dashboard, you have to evaluate, do I actually have to do that? Or if that really has to happen, then it's going to have to happen Wednesday afternoon. So I'm going to make a note about that. You're thinking it through and not just letting it stew in your head and kind of run around like a crazy person trying to do more than actually fits in the time. You're being responsible with your time by acknowledging that the time is finite and that you are finite. I am finite. We can't do all the things. We're going to have to pick. So putting together a planner page is an exercise of picking, making decisions, prioritizing. And that's why we avoid it. Because we would just like to think that we can do it all if we just scramble. And it's not true. Maybe every once in a while it kind of works out. And so we just keep going with that plan. But exercising wisdom and diligence means thinking it through and evaluating and prioritizing and making decisions. But we'll get to that in a minute. So that's your dashboard. The next thing is your daily card. So your daily card is your list of your top 3 things for today. The 3 things that if you do these things, you have to admit that you had a good day. Because as moms, we all do this, but I did it a couple weeks ago where my husband came home and I said, I haven't done anything today. I didn't get anything done today because I had that super long, unrealistic list, right? And then it turns out that I had to actually parent some children, or I had to actually clean up sudden, unexpected mess. So I didn't get into nearly any of my would like to do all the things list. So I said, I didn't do anything today. I didn't get anything done. And my husband looked at me and said, stop lying. Don't lie. I'm like, oh, right. Well, yeah, I did do some things today, but I just didn't do what I wanted to do. So the daily card is not our wish list of the things that we would like to do today if everything goes according to plan or according to our desires. The daily card is, what am I most responsible for today? So whenever it's a homeschool day, homeschool is always at the top of my list, even though it's going to happen. I put it on my list as a tangible, a process, because I had to handwrite it, visible reminder that if nothing else happens but that happened, we're good. That was where my attention and focus was supposed to be. So it's quick and simple to write out that daily card. And because we do one every single day, we get a lot of practice and we get better and better at it. So it's not that we are going to become good at choosing the top 3 things for the day immediately. Like our first daily card is going to completely accurately reflect our priorities and our time commitments. But as we practice it, we get better and better at noticing our own particular tendencies and temptations, and we are able to begin using the card to focus our own attention where we need to focus our attention. So it's a very general tool that becomes very personal and I don't know, convicting would be maybe the right word. But the dailiness of it is the real key. The dailiness and the shortness of that daily card. Now, menu strategy. I decided to not use menu plan or meal plan because most of us have some kind of baggage that goes along with that. Like, I don't meal plan, I don't menu plan, because we get this idea of it being an elaborate process. We've seen menu plans on Pinterest. Maybe we've subscribed to done for you menu plans before, and it's like, I just don't have time for that. But somehow your people eat multiple times a day. So you have some kind of food strategy. And we can write that down and improve it incrementally or adjust it incrementally and improve our strategy over time. Things like Taco Tuesday, Pizza Friday, that's a menu strategy. So we have to have some kind of menu strategy, and if we've actually thought about it and have it in writing, we're going to be able to execute that strategy with less stress and less guilt. Because if we have some kind of strategy we're operating with, but then we have this ideal standard of what a menu plan is, and we're like, I really should, but I'm not, then we're operating from guilt, which is going to increase our stress, and that's not how we want to live. That's not how we ought to live. So we can write down our strategy, and we all should have some kind of menu strategy because the people all do need to eat every day. And we have to buy groceries. Like, it takes a lot. It's a big deal. We need to dedicate some part of our planning time and our planner paper to the reality that that's a big piece of what we do. We also have routines. There needs to be a laundry routine, some kind of cleaning routine, some kind of morning routine, an evening routine. We have these routines, or we are trying to build the routines, but are they written down somewhere? It's not that you need to work from a checklist every single day, because a part of the benefit of having a routine is that it becomes automatic. but it doesn't become automatic if you are unclear what's supposed to be happening during the time. So the routine detail page isn't necessarily a checklist you use every day or every week, but it is a placeholder in your plan reminding you that you have thought it through, you have written it down, and you can get better and better at it through practice. So you can look, you know where to look for it when you need a reminder. So routine details. And then a project hub is a placeholder, a place card for the different projects that you are responsible for. The temptation of project people, and I'm a project person, is to multiply the projects that we have open. David Allen in Getting Things Done calls them open loops. And we would like to have all these different things going on. And if you actually listed out the open projects that you have, it might reveal why you feel a little bit overwhelmed with your life. And you might say, oh, maybe I should just postpone that one. And instead of procrastinating on all of them, I'm intentionally postponing these because they aren't really important right now. But this other one has a deadline. When these things are written down in a place where we review them, it helps us exercise wisdom, clarity, problem solving that we can't do if this information, the menu strategy, the routine details, the projects that we have going, if all of that is only in our head is going to be too full to actually think clearly and stay calm. And we aren't going to really be managing any of these things well because that our minds are not for holding details. Our minds are for thinking things through. So when it's written down, we are able to process. We're able to use our mind for thinking about them and making strategies rather than just trying to remember the things that we should be remembering. And then notes, a place to write things down. Like, write it down right away. I'll send one of those stickers too in the sticker packs. That's an important one for the planner. Or write it down right away, and you need a place to just write things down when you need to write things down because you're going to need to write things down. Notes need a home. We've talked some about these planner pieces. The free planner pack has ready to go pages for some of these essential ones. But, really any of these, like the routine details, menu strategy, if you use a pre-printed planner, all you need is the notes section. Like these don't have to be fancy or complicated or customized to being like it doesn't need to say Project Hub or routine details at the top for you to actually manage those details. So, you can take a page in the back of the planner and just write meal strategy up at the top and then say, okay, so I have a list here. These are the things that are in the freezer that I should use in the next couple months. Here are some of our go-to lunches. And it's just written down so that when my brain is dead after helping someone with algebra, I don't have to think about what's for lunch. I was like, wait a sec, I wrote that down at one point when I was thinking clearly. And it's helping myself out. That's what the planner is good for. But if you would like a page where it says Project Hub or routine details or weekly dashboard at the top, then the free planner pages are there at convivialplanner.com. And you can also find information about the book. Soon I will have it available off Amazon as well as on Amazon. Right now, the link to buy the book will just take you to Amazon. And then we talked a little bit about the daily card, which really is the secret weapon of planning. Even if you don't have those other pages, a daily card is a great place to begin. And Next month, inside Simply Convivial Continuing Education, we're going to be doing a daily card challenge where for the whole month, so the month of September has 30 days, but if you write 20 daily cards, then you get a fun prize in the mail. It's actually a Post-it pad with custom daily cards. It's pretty fun. So let me just grab one of those. I was pretty excited when I saw that I could order custom Post-it pads. Like they're real Post-its. See? Post-its. So for a daily card, right there. Your top 3 things, repent, rejoice, repeat. Right there. That's the prize for completing the daily card challenge. I'm super excited about that. The daily card challenge, we did one last year and it was a big, big hit because the daily card practice is huge. It looks little, it looks insignificant, it looks like, well, what's the big deal? You have to do it a lot of times before you realize like, oh wow, that's the secret right there. For my mindset, for my attitude, for actually putting my attention where it matters most, the daily card, it is a game changer. And most people need to try it to believe it. So we're going to do a daily card challenge inside Simply Convivial Continuing Education. And that's my membership. I have courses, a community. Many of these ladies here are in the community. And we apply ourselves to growing in our roles and responsibilities at home and with the people that God puts in front of us, starting with our family. So that's Simply Convivial Continuing Education, and we have a daily card challenge for the month of September. Yay, and I do have YouTube videos up on more on the daily card as well. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about the practices that make a planner work. So today it was getting those pieces, like choosing a planner, making sure you have the things in your planner that are going to help you actually manage life. But tomorrow is the real key, because the planner does you no good if you don't look at it. So we're going to talk about the 4 times that you need to be in your planner and what you need to be doing during those times. Because you don't need to look at everything in the planner every time. But you do need to, if you never look at it, it's not doing you any good. So tomorrow, we're doing a whole 45 minutes just on what it means to really use a planner and get the most out of it, because it's something that we do. It's not something, just inherent in the planner. It's just going to sit on your desk, and that's not helpful. We have to actually use it if it's going to work for us. So that's tomorrow's workshop. If you are signed up, if you're here, then you are already registered for it. It's not separate. You'll get the same notice with it'll be a very similar link. And we'll just meet back here tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I do have worksheets that go with this session that you can get for free in return for sharing about this workshop. So if you share the workshop, you can share the Crowdcast link, you can share simplyconvivial.com/planner. You can forward one of the emails that you got about the workshop. However it works for you. That can be social media, it can be a text to a friend, it can be in person with a friend. But if you share this free workshop with a friend or 2 or dozen, then email support@simplifiedorganization.com, and my assistant, Virginia Lee, will send you the free workshop or worksheets. There's one worksheet for each of these 3 sessions, and it contains pretty much the same information that's on the slide, but also places for you to commit. Like write down, okay, what am I going to use for my calendar? What am I going to use for a weekly dashboard? And it helps you think through all those things and decide. Because really, planning is making decisions, and writing it down is a great way to make those decisions clear to your own self. So those worksheets help you figure that out and get it written down and ready. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, you and your friends. So we'll see you then.